My wife got rich, and then she pretended she didn't know me. Have you ever looked at someone you love and realized they're still standing in front of you but they're no longer the same person? Because that's exactly what happened to me. My wife and I met when I was 15. She was 17. Back then, life wasn't easy. Within 6 months, I lost my mom. I never knew my father. So overnight, I had no family left. She was just a friend at the time, but she stayed. She grieved with me. She sat beside me when I felt completely alone. Looking back, I think that's when I fell in love with her. We started dating when I was 17. 7 years later, we got married. For years, we built a simple life together. She was the least materialistic person I'd ever met. She shopped at thrift stores. She couldn't care less about designer brands. I once tried impressing her with my sports car. She looked at it and asked, "Is this a Corolla?" That's who she was. She didn't care about money. She cared about people. And that's exactly why I loved her. Ironically, she became the successful one. She climbed the corporate ladder while I worked as a community first responder for our local hospital. I never made much money, but I loved helping people. Then, everything changed. She was offered an executive position at a major company. The salary? 4 times what she was already making. The only catch? We had to move. It meant I'd have to leave the career I loved. I was nervous, but she smiled and said, "I can support us until you find something." So I agreed. I wanted to support her dream. I had no idea I'd be losing my wife in the process. At first, the changes were small. She bought designer handbags, luxury clothes, expensive jewelry. I was surprised, but I figured maybe she'd never had the opportunity to enjoy those things before. Then she started spending more time with coworkers. Again, I was happy for her. She'd never been particularly social. It felt like she was finally finding her place until she stopped coming home. At first she'd work late, then later, then even later. Eventually we'd go days barely speaking. I'd text her, nothing. Hours later, I'd see photos online of her drinking with coworkers or shopping. She always had time to post pictures, just never time to answer me. One day, she left for work driving an Audi. She came home driving a Porsche. No conversation, no warning, nothing. I asked if it was a company car. She looked at me and said, "It's my money. I can spend it however I want." That wasn't the woman I married. Then one afternoon, she didn't come home at all. I spent the entire night worried. The next day she casually called to tell me she'd gone on a business trip and simply forgot to mention it, forgot to tell her husband. Months passed like this. I kept trying to tell myself it was just work, stress, pressure, that eventually we'd find our way back. Then came the lunch. She invited me to eat with her coworkers. For the first time in months, I felt hopeful. Maybe things were finally getting better. I got dressed, cleaned up, and drove to the restaurant. Years earlier, I'd sold my sports car. I didn't need it anymore. These days, I drove a small Renault Clio, reliable, affordable, perfect for me. I parked outside the restaurant, walked inside, and immediately, my wife's face changed. She stood up, grabbed my arm, dragged me outside, then asked me why I'd parked the car where her coworkers could see it. She told me I should have hidden it somewhere else. She said it didn't represent her lifestyle. I stood there speechless. She wasn't joking. She was embarrassed by me, by the car I'd driven, by the life we'd built together. In that moment, I realized something. The woman standing in front of me wasn't my wife anymore. That night I sat at home with divorce papers in front of me. I still couldn't bring myself to sign them because somewhere deep down, I kept hoping the woman I'd fallen in love with was still there. The next morning, she came home after another company party. She hadn't answered any of my calls. When I asked if she was okay, she laughed and asked, "With what?" "The Cleo." I don't think she realized, she just made fun of the man who had stood beside her through everything. Before I could even tell her I was considering divorce, she spoke first. She wanted one. She told me she'd talked to her friends. She realized I wasn't fit to be her husband anymore, that we had different lifestyles, different values, and that she deserved someone more like her. That hurt more than I can explain. I suggested counseling, taking time apart, anything. She'd already made up her mind. So I looked at her and said, "I know your worth. I've spent 16 years loving you, but I know mine too." Then we started discussing the divorce. Strangely, the longest argument wasn't about money or the house. It was about our dog. She wanted him, even though she'd barely spent any time with him in 2 years. I refused. He was coming with me. As we drove away, watching him happily sticking his head out the window of my little Cleo, I smiled for the first time in weeks. Before leaving, I asked her one final question. "Were you cheating on me?" She said no, and I chose to believe her. Because honestly, whether she had or not, it wouldn't change what had already happened. I'd already lost her. Not to another man, not to an affair, but to status, to image, to a version of herself that valued appearances more than the people who loved her. I still wish her well, because I'll never forget the girl who stood beside me after my mother died. But sometimes, the person who saves you isn't the person who stays. And that's one of the hardest lessons life can teach.